Plants have long been used to heal the sick, and the jungles are rich with cures that have hardly been tapped. For 7 years, Walter and Memory Lewis have been journeying to the Amazon basin to study its secrets. Their teachers are the Jivaro Indians, the keepers of a vast and ancient body of life-saving knowledge. The Jivaros live in northern Peru, near the remote headwaters of the Amazon River.
"200 miles below the equator, deep in the Peruvian interior, swollen rivers snake through the hot, dense rainforest. Not many people live in the upper Amazon basin. Not many people could. Until very recently, the Indians of this region, the Jivaro, were considered among the fiercest in the world, warring headhunters who had never been conquered, not even by the conquistadors. The Jivaro have much to defend. It is possible that here among the headwaters of the Amazon, in the roots and bark and leaves of the rainforest, lie medicinal secrets that will change the course of history. Already, these Indians have given Western medicine knowledge of the great anti-malarial remedy, quinine. And the Jivaro have discovered treatments for everything from rheumatism to gum disease to flesh wounds. A dazzling body of knowledge. In an environment predisposed to disease and infection, the Jivaro are a thriving, healthy people. But the secrets of their well-being are in peril. If Jivaro youth become seduced by the modern world and lose interest in the medicinal knowledge of their elders, the secrets of thousands of years could vanish in a single generation. Walter Lewis is a professor of biology at Washington University in St. Louis. His specialty is a field called ethnobotany, a field which embraces the vast store of botanical knowledge possessed by primitive societies.
The roots I have are so small and fibrous.
Since fully 1/4 of U.S. prescription drugs are derived from plants, the botanical value of the Amazon jungle, in both economic and life-saving terms, cannot be overestimated.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what we want.
That's the medicine right there.
That's all we need, and plus the fruit. This is a species of palm. We've actually examined the roots of one of these species and found them to be very effective against hepatitis, so we felt we'd better try several of these because the Jivaros say that, in fact, they are very useful, that they can cure hepatitis. So it's definitely worth a serious experiment.
When a new strain of hepatitis first appeared here in 1987, the Jivaro had no cure. So they began searching for one. They are constantly expanding their medicinal knowledge, finding cures for new diseases and better cures for old ones. All of these remedies hold promise, but not until Walter gets his samples to a lab and combines modern science with primitive wisdom will he know what he's really got.
This has to be a guinea. Never been reported for anything like this. That's incredible.
Our forefathers knew about these things and they just passed it on, so we just pick it up and we just know it from our forefathers, our grandfathers.
Daniel Fast grew up among the Jivaro, the son of missionary parents.
Let's scrape some of that, can we? Or should we just take
Daniel's knowledge of Jivaro ways has allowed Walter insight and access that would otherwise be unthinkable. In a village called Puranchim, members of a Jivaro subtribe named the Achual respond to Walter's plea for plant specimens.
We've got a mixing of a combining of the bark of this one with mandaj that we had, that very bitter one that Saki got for us.
Yes.
For the leishmaniasis.
You never know what synergism might exist, so I think it's worth us taking this.
Memory Elvin-Lewis, Walter's wife, is a microbiologist with a specialized knowledge of disease.
She doesn't believe it. Oh,
Her investigation into the Jivaro practice of teeth blackening and its anti-plaque properties was what first brought the Lewises to Peru 6 years ago.
Dan, this is important because memories found in the first preliminary trials that the bulb is an antibiotic and has a very broad spectrum range, apparently.
We compared between that, an onion, and a narcissus, and this one, because it's referred to as the Peruvian narcissus. And this is by far the most active of all of them concerned, because we know that onions have antibiotics in them that don't have a long shelf life. That's why you hear about them used in European folklore a lot, because of the antibiotics in them. So this gave us a clue initially to what might be useful.
And the kids have scabies.
Hair blackening is another Jivaro custom with healthy consequences. It is done to make a man more attractive, but seems to have the added benefit of repelling head lice.
The ripe fruit
is no good. But anyway, you don't have hair like mine. No?
He says you should.
I should do it.
You should do it.
I should do it.
500. Bye.
See, it already feels good. I feel younger already. How's that?
There is not a moment to spare in the search for jungle cures. An estimated 20,000 species of plants and animals are being lost every year as the rainforest is obliterated by loggers, cattle ranchers, and farmers. And fewer than 5% of the Amazon's diverse plant species have even been analyzed.
One of the richest floras in the world is right here. And the greater the diversity of your flora, the greater, just by chance alone, there would be more plants of value and use to man.
And now back to National Geographic Explorer.
As the rainforest plants are living on borrowed time, so is the precious knowledge of the indigenous Amazonian peoples. In the strictly oral tradition of the Jivaro, there must be someone to listen when the secrets are told. The secrets are not confined to medicinal plants. The leaves of the Clibadium plant are used for fishing. Clibadium contains a potent neurotoxin that stuns the fish, forcing them to the surface where they are easily gathered.
The Achuar have somewhat of a concept that they were the first people on this earth. So that when they see ancient potsherds and ancient remains in their streams, in their land, they consider those supernatural because there couldn't have been anyone before them. And they don't consider even the Peruvian government much of an authority over them. They are one people, and the Peruvians are another.
Game is not abundant in Amazonia, but Jivaro men are skillful hunters. 9-foot blowguns propel poison darts at birds and small animals. Curare is used as the paralyzing poison coating the arrow's tips. Curare is one of the secrets of the forest that has already been revealed. A powerful muscle relaxant which revolutionized modern surgery when introduced in the late 1930s. Meat and fish are really only supplementary to the main Jivaro diet, which is vegetarian.
You look at their day's diet, you'd say, it's not sufficient. Where's the fruit? Where's the greens? Where do they get the minerals and vitamins? You look at the month's consumption, and then the picture does balance out a bit. When they eat greens, they eat a whole great big leaf-wrapped, baked portion of greens, just pure that, nothing else. When they go on fruit, some they go on a fruit binge, and they'll eat fruit until they're just full. When there's nothing to eat, you may go a day without eating, 2, 3 days. And so when there's food, you eat. You can't say, hey, I'm full, let me eat tomorrow. Well, tomorrow, there is no more.
Wow, bien, ¿cómo está?
Walter and Memory are flown from village to village to gather new specimens and speak with different Jivaro subtribes.
It's wonderful how you feel in the middle of the Amazon. There's so much oxygen being produced here that you feel absolutely revitalized. So when you're right in the center of it, you feel exhilarated.
A valuable part of the Lewis's work is comparing the botanical practices of different Jivaro villages. The village of Pampa Hermosa, along the banks of the Corrientes River, is home to the Maina subtribe. These Jivaro have had more exposure to the modern world than the Achuar, but for now, still practice tribal medicine.
Could the secrets of the rainforest change the face of modern medicine? Explore the possibilities after this. And now back to National Geographic Explorer.
The Maina are familiar with the Lewis's quest and have gathered samples in anticipation of their arrival.
We've gotten about 1,000 plants from this village before, And I'm still getting new plants today, even though we've been here at the same time of year. And this here is a new antimalarial. We've never gotten this one before, so it's very exciting. Lots of interesting things. Ah, there he is. Two big ones. Two large.
The women are notoriously shy in these communities, especially with strangers, and so they usually stand back, and the men are the orators. And very frequently I've sat back and watched the women absolutely chuckle when clearly, as is typical of anywhere, the men are telling a long story and the women will say that's not exactly the way it is, especially about medicinal plants. Women are usually the curators of an awful lot of medicinal plants, and they know these very, very well. They grow them in their gardens and around their homes, and it's not unlike you have a neighborhood drugstore.
By building personal relationships, memory has been able to unlock some of the closely held secrets of medicines used specifically by Jivaro women.
After women have babies, they take this, and right after they've had a baby, and they don't bleed anymore. And in our culture, we bleed for at least 6 weeks. So this is quite an interesting thing that these women don't consider that type of bleeding to be important or necessary.
Her findings may well have an impact on world health and population control.
When they no longer want children, they drink the root of this. Is that correct?
A cold infusion of 1 or 2 rhizomes. They always use a lot in about a cup of water.
And right after they've had a baby or any time.
The bleeding ends, and then you would take this one.
And then you'll never get pregnant again.
And it's permanent.
Never get pregnant again.
That's what they say.
This is the 7th time the Lewises have come to the Amazon basin to learn from the Jivaro. They have identified dozens of new species from this part of the rainforest. Walter feels this trip may yield many more, and some real pharmacological breakthroughs.
I think it's the beginning of a very interesting series of experiments that will show modern medicine and science that in fact what the Atual and the Maina have been using for generations and generations has some meaning, has some validity. I presume this does represent validity, but we won't know until we get this all in the lab and trying to find out whether or not they were right. And I kind of think they are right.
At Washington University's research greenhouses, living samples from Amazonia are treated like royalty.
No, I won't touch the baby.
Aspirin, digitalis, birth control pills, and morphine all came from plants. It seems obvious that we should look to the forest for answers to the dread diseases of our day.
I think there are a lot of plants out there that we could and should be analyzing, because if this is any example, in the last 2, 3, 4 months, it's been incredible. The amount of success we've had with the anti-hepatitis plants, contraceptive plants, the wound healing plants, whether the wound is a very deep one, a shallow one, or whether it's just superficial bite from a mosquito or a major slash from a machete. They use the sap of this plant in a matter of days. They have the wound healing without infection. And we found on preliminary experiments that this sap does in fact heal at a rate about double the normal rate of healing by the body itself. Well, this would mean for us and for anyone that had surgery or cuts or wounds, periodontal disease, whatever it might be, in fact even ulcers, internal wounds as well, that they could heal at a remarkably fast rate, perhaps twice as fast as anything we have at the present time.
The secrets of the forest are being whispered now, softly, one at a time. We must listen carefully to the Jivaro, because the secrets are theirs alone to tell.
We have a group of people who live in harmony with their environment. They are great conservationists from the point of view of using just what they need and leaving the rest. And it would seem to me if they need some help from the outside in some area to make their life perhaps more tenable, then that's fine. But otherwise, let them take care of the plants and animals, the whole ecosystem, not only for themselves, but for us as well.